Now, the information design tool is the new version of Universe Designer. It's very, very powerful, and we'll take a look at it in just a couple of minutes. But just some general improvements in 4.1. First off, 600 bug fixes have been made since the beginning of 4.0. HANA and SAP ERP data sources have been added as well. You can use custom formats on your business objects and now apply them to multiple objects at once, which is very, very helpful for anybody who has had to go back and create multiple items. We've also added index awareness for dimensional attributes, which can help improve the query time at the platform and query level. Now, one of the other things that we're going to have to save for another webinar, because it's a whole another topic, but one of the great things that is now available in Information Design Tool is the ability to create multi-source universes. So what this means is that I can use data sources from various systems to build the same universe without doing a lot of ETL work behind the scenes. Now in 4.1 that has been further enhanced. It's now called the Federation layer. The Federation layer is a simple ETL tool. As you can see in the diagram below, you can map different tables to different columns and do your own simple ETL within a GUI interface. These provide multi-source derived tables, which you can then use as the source of your business layer, which means that it further expands the powerful nature of this tool to allow multiple sources and sources so that you can do a lot of the work on the data foundation side as an administrator and then push it off to your developers on a business layer so they don't have to build as many derived tables, which again improves performance. This uses a specific server within BO, which means that again, if you have a lot of federated tables or you have no federated tables, you can scale your Java heap sizes on those servers to make sure that your system is operating smoothly. Now, for those who haven't seen Information Design Tool, just a quick background. As you can see in the strategic legal folder, there's a number of different components that go into a Information Design Tool universe, which is known as the .unix. First off, there's connection, a data foundation, which is your semantic layer, and then your business layer, which is more of your semantic layer. It defines more of your objects. So let's go ahead and look at one of our e-fashion. So first off, we have our data foundation, and as you can see here, it has tables, it has joins, it has a shortcut join here, and it's very similar to the right-hand side of Universe Designer. And then you can modify the data foundation. You can see what tables are there, and filters that allow you to search for things, and also a better job of handling alias tables and context, as well as a more readily available loop check. Now what you can also do here is you can also create parameters and lists of values. And any parameters and lists of values that you create at the data foundation side is going to be something that you can then use in any business layer. So any business layer that's now built off of that data foundation, for example this business layer right here, we can see our objects here. And it's fairly standard objects, measures, filters, and dimensions. You can also see the data foundation that it's built upon. You can do your own querying here inside of the universe. So what we can do is we can just choose year and month and sales revenue and state. Just move these around. We'll go ahead and pick query filter for this year and refresh the data. This allows you to check your system and your data before you push it up to Web Intelligence or Crystal or even Explorer, so that you can validate the data before you publish this as well. And this is very much like every other query panel that's now in the 4.1. And one of the great things is that they've kind of solidified all these query panels so they all look very similar. You can also do a view script here and see the script that's being generated by the script, so you can go back and check it for errors. You can also use custom query scripts here as well. We'll go ahead and continue there. Again, so parameters and list of values. So you can see my list of values here. These are from the business layer, but if I've created any of the data foundation side, they would be here as well. And then we also have navigation paths, which in Universe Designer were called hierarchies. And so you can see the navigation paths or hierarchies and their descriptions, and then add one as well. One of the other great things about Information Design Tool is that if we come up to, say, one of our objects, let's go back to our business layer. Let's select one of our objects lines here. Okay. And so now this new panel right here has a number of key values. You can always right-click on here and go to Show Values. It's going to display the list of values here as well. But what we can also do is we can also show values directly from the screen right here while you're modifying it. We can validate the SQL select statement here as well. We can modify it, whether it's a string or what the data type is. We can change it from a dimension to an attribute, which is a new name for details, or we can even switch it to a measure here as well. And then if you go into SQL Assist, this is very similar to what you're familiar with in Information Design Tool and Universe Designer. Your list of tables, your list of functions, your business layer objects here as well, and then also any list of values that were created at the business layer or data foundation. And then also you can apply which tables it should always query from if you want to do that. Add a where clause, your keys here. You can also do an advanced. You can create a display format here. Okay, and you can edit display format like we talked about earlier. And so, for example, I can always change the font to 24, and we always want the color to be this dark blue. And then when you pass this up to Web Intelligence, it will apply that as well. You can also do shading on the cell or borders around the cell if you have a special format that's always being used, or if you want to create a universe for specific users so that their data always comes back in a certain way. Final thing that I want to show you right here is the new wizard that comes with Information Design Tool 4.1. You can see there's a magic wand, and indeed it is fairly magical. So what we can do is we can select a product, or we can create a project. So let's go to create a project, and we'll call this November webinar. And you see where it's going to be, where it's placing it, so that you can go back and find those files and share those if necessary. You can also choose either a relational data source or an OLAP data source. We're going to go ahead and choose a relational data source here, and we'll call this November eFashion. And then we'll choose our driver. This is an MS Access ODBC driver. We'll use eFashion Webby. Test the connection. Next. Next. You can add your custom parameters if you have some special SQL that you need to do in the background, or any other resource-intensive properties you want to add. Now it's asking us to name our data foundation, so we can call this eFashion November Data Foundation. Okay, and then it says select which tables you want to use. We're just going to go ahead and select, not from that, but from here. And we'll not select all of these. We'll just do our aggregate tables, some fact tables. We'll go ahead and detect joins, detect keys, detect row counts, and detect cardinalities. Next, we'll create our business layer now. So we'll call this eFashion Business Layer November. Go ahead and click Next. And then we'll hit Finish. And so you can see from our business layers perspective, all of our objects are here. We can go back in and modify these however we want. Our data foundation did not detect any joins at all. So what we can do is we can simply click our items here. Grab some of our ideas. And so there you go. You now have a universe full of objects for you to modify. as well as a data foundation that you can add tables to and make joins to as well, and also a connection that I can just share out to my repository, or I can use for multiple projects. And all that's created here as well. Now, if you don't prefer to do that, you can also do a new and do all of that we just did through here, which is 4 or 5 different steps. But now it's just one step, and you have your universe.